as we start moving into the fall and the weather starts to get a little crispy, my herb garden sort of dies more and more. And I know I'm probably not the only one here in these colder climate areas. This time around, I wanted to do something a little different than your classic run-of-the-mill fresh sauces. Like, you know, I usually find myself making fresh chimichurris, salsas, pestos, that sort of thing with my end of season herbs, but I wanted to do something a little different and create an oil out of them. I've read a solid amount about people making their own herb oils and like which herbs are best, this and that. So I kind of took from a bunch of different techniques and articles and videos that I found online and sort of created my own Frankenstein technique. What's cool about this technique is that you can use it on like any like green herb. Your chervils, your tarragon, parsley, cilantro, chives, sort of like the soft green herb. This is gonna work well with those. You can also like mix different herbs and create like a sort of like hybrid oil, like a, I don't know, like a tarragon parsley oil or something like of that nature. Get creative with it. No woody herbs, so no rosemary, no thyme, no savory, none of that. So I will stop talking now and let's get to work. First, we're gonna take a big pot of salted water and blanch these bad boys. And you're gonna wanna blanch these greens for about 30 to 45 seconds or until they're tender. With some herbs, you might want to remove them from their stem because the stems and the leaf of the herb cook at separate rates, but I didn't. I left my parsley leaves on the stems. Next, in typical blanching fashion, we are going to shock our greens, stirring them around. This helps stop the cooking and preserves the color of the herb. I prefer to measure by weight because it's more precise. So before measuring, you're not going to know how much your herbs weigh, so go ahead and zero out your scale, toss your herbs in the blender, and see how much they weigh. For this specific oil, we are going to use a 3-to-1 ratio oil to herbs. What that simply means is you're going to take your herb weight, multiply it by 3, and that's how much oil you're going to need. So you can use any neutral flavored oil for this, but I'm using grapeseed because that's generally what I cook with. Neutral oil, of course, meaning an oil with a mild taste. Next, we're going to buzz things up in the blender. Blitz on high for 45 to 60 seconds or until the herb oil looks like super mega vibrant. So from here you can pretty much pop things in the fridge and call it a day, but I highly recommend doing this next step. Just going to heat this mixture and so that the herbs and the oil can sort of fuse and marry together happily. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to afford that lovely 2-bedroom ranch in the suburbs. Anyways, once the herb oil starts to come up and bubble, start whisking so that it doesn't burn to the bottom of the pan, pot, whatever. 30 seconds after the mixture comes to a boil, take it off the heat. So let's chill things down. Fun fact, adding salt to water allows the temperature to drop more than it would without the salt. So make Sub-Zero proud and add salt to your ice bath. Pour the oil into a metal bowl and start whisking away until things chill down. For this step, it helps to use a metal bowl rather than glass or plastic just because it helps, cool things down faster and channel that cold temp. Once things are nice and chilly, pour off the mixture into some sort of container and pop it in your fridge for 24 hours. This will allow for a final steeping. So here you can see the herb particles, but after 24 hours, they will separate. And boom, it's been 24 hours. Things have separated. And it's time to strain. I'm using a fine mesh strainer, otherwise known as a chinois. I'm just really getting it all out there. And now I'm just using the back of my hand to push things through. It doesn't really matter if there are little particles floating around because we're going to strain it again. This time around, I'm going to line the chinois with some cheesecloth. Any lint-free cloth will do. Oh, and if you don't have a chinois or any lint-free cloth laying around, you can totally just use like a standard strainer and a coffee filter in place of the cheesecloth. That'll work just fine. Alright, so now I'm just grabbing the ends of the cheesecloth to form this little sack thing. Alright, so here's what not to do. Do not squeeze the cheesecloth so hard so that particles come out. It sort of defeats the purpose. But my herb oil turned out just beautiful. Now I'm just going to use a trusty funnel guy to fill up a bottle and store this puppy in my fridge for up to around 10 days or so. As you can see, we still have some parsley floaty things around in this bottle from that cheesecloth situation, but if you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. I mean, come on, look at this color. Here I'm just making some savory oats. I cooked some oats in chicken broth. I'm sprinkling some Urfa chili on top. Stacking those crispy oyster boomers. Putting some dehydrated shallots over the top. And now it's time for the star of the show. Parsley oil around the rim. Just finished things off with some piave cheese on the microplane. If you don't have a microplane, I highly recommend getting one. They're awesome. I kind of just tossed this dish together, but it turned out really awesome. The contrast from the yellow chicken oats and this super green parsley oil was like kind of stunning. All right, time for a bite. So I hope this video has opened the herb oil door and gateway for you to try to make your own herb oils. Anyways, I am going to go, but if you like what you saw, of course, leave this video a like. It totally helps me. Subscribe to see more, all that jazz. Shameless plug here. Follow me on Instagram. Peace.